Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing today? Good. Hmm. I had two other classes before your class. Now my voice is today acting so badly because I was talking loudly and it's hurting the vocal cord, it's hurting now so much. So we are done with 1.5 in our last class. And I think I said that due date was tonight midnight, but I forgot to change the due date. So if I haven't changed it to tonight midnight, then and if you haven't done that yet, then I'll give you one more week, next week midnight. And also next week midnight, you're going to have your 1.6 homework, 1.5 and 1.6. This week, Thursday, we are not going to have any class because Wednesday and Thursday there are no classes, and we are going to meet again on Friday. Great. Any question before we start? Any comments, concern, complaint? Next week. And also I posted the review sheet for exam 2. Did you notice that? When is exam 2? I'm not sure yet. But my plan is to go over whatever I have on the review sheet. So review sheet has 1.5, 1.6, and probably the entire chapter 1, right? So yeah, 1.5, 6, 7, 8. When you're done with these 4 sections, then you're going to have our exam. So most likely it will be around from 13 to 25 in these 2 weeks. Okay. 24, we're not going to have any class because Monday schedule. So I'll see. Probably it will be 21 or 23. Yeah, we'll see. Like my goal is to finish 1.5 to 1.10. Sorry, 1.5 to 1.8. We don't have 1.10, right? Huh? I didn't hear you. Uh, yes. 89 or 84, either one is fine. But if you have 89, your life will be easier. But you have to know how to use that. 89. For 1.6, we don't need any calculator, as far as I know. But 1.5, we need the calculator for the word problems. Any other question?
Exam 2 will be expected like October.
After 15, definitely after 15.
Alright.
But either on the 3rd week or on the 4th week. And I already posted the review sheet. So start practicing with those, and then we'll tell at least 1 week before the exam that exam will be that next week. Any other question, comments, concern, complaint? Okay, 1.6 is a fun section. 1.6. We're going to learn all about function. How do you draw a function without floating points? How do you know its end behavior? How do you know the functions are odd or even? How can we recognize, as long as you know the shape, how can you recognize the equation for a function? All things about function. And there are lots of things we have to learn about function. The first thing is odd or even function. There are 2 special types of functions. We call them odd function or even function. Not every function is odd or even. There are some function it's neither odd nor even. Okay, so these are two special. Odd or even. How do you recognize them? The odd function. Let me start with even function. The even function is symmetric about the y-axis. For example, y equals x squared. It's a symmetric. That's why we have axis of symmetry. It's an even function. So even function are even. Even function are symmetric about the y-axis. For example, any type of even power, most of them, they are even function. And odd function are symmetric about the origin. So it's symmetric about the origin. For example, here, this is an odd function x cubed. It's symmetric about the origin because if you flip it about the origin, you'll get the same thing back. You just have to rotate with y equals x line. Okay, so how do we recognize which one is odd, which one is even? The even function, we can recognize them by replacing x with negative x. All the positive x replaced with negative x. At the end, if you get the same y value back, that means it's an even function. For example, for a parabola, let's say this is -1, this is +1, this is 0. So whatever you have for +1, f of 1, if you have the same y value for f of -1, then it's an even function. So the y value for positive x is the same y value for negative x. If you have that, it's even. On the other hand, if y value for positive x, the negative y value of the positive x is the y value of the negative x, that means it's the same, it's even, it's odd function. Okay, main idea, all you have to do is replace your x with negative x and see what's the outcome. If the outcome gives you the original function back by replacing x with negative x, it means it's even function. But when you replace x with negative x and you get negative of the original function, that means an odd function. If you get none of them, it's neither. Okay? So for an even function, if you have x value 2, y value 8, for -2, you're going to get the same y value 8. So you replace +2 with -2, it's supposed to get the same y value. Your y value cannot change. If you have that scenario, you're dealing with an even function. On the other hand, if you have 2 and 8, and you replace this 2 with -2, your 8 also has to change its sign. The +2 turn into -2, not turn. The +2 replaced with -2, the y value 8, it got replaced, it or turned into -8. If both of them change their sign, then it's odd. But if only x change their sign, then it's even. One example, absolute value. Absolute value is an even function. We only know that by looking at the shape, but even if you don't know the shape of a graph, no problem. All you have to do is replace the x with negative x. So we know symbol of x is positive x. If you replace this x with negative, now you have f of negative x is negative x here. F of negative x is negative x. But then symbol of negative x is positive x for x positive. So absolute value function is an even function. We're going to do a few examples. For example, this one. We have a function which graph we have no idea about. We don't know what the shape of this graph. Sayum, no fun. Class already started. So since we don't know its graph, we cannot use the graph to figure out whether this is even or odd function. So what we do is we replace every x you see with negative x, and you observe the outcome. So this is f of x. Now, f of negative x, it means negative x squared divided by 4 times negative x squared plus 9. So the x, we replace them with negative x. And now simplify. What is negative x whole thing square? Positive x squared. On the denominator, what is negative x whole thing square? Positive x squared. But what do you see? This one and this one, they are the same. So this is the original f of x. So since the negative x gives us the same y value, is this odd or even? Even. So we have an even function. That's all we have to do. Replace every x with negative x, simplify, and compare the result with the original one. Think about the next one. You only replace x. What do you think about the next one? What you don't get? Which part? The main idea here is remember the two rules. Rule number 1. You are given your original function f of x. Okay. Now, if you replace this x with negative x and you get the same thing back, that means this is even. In other words, the positive x value and negative x value give you the same y value. If they do, then it's an even function. Then rule number 2, you have your f of x and you're replacing your x with negative x. You simplify, and then if you observe, the result is negative of your original function, then it's odd. So you have to memorize these rules or remember the rules somehow. Now, what we did in the last example, we have x squared and 4x squared 9 plus 9. We replace x with negative x, and we simplified, and we see that we got the same thing back, x squared over 4x squared plus 9. So negative x, replacing the x with negative x, gives us the same original function back, so it's an even function. Now I'm asking to the second one. What do you have? You think it's odd? Man, I hate that. Can I flip my page? Do you have a question? I'm trying to remember your name. See, I have a very short-term memory. Sorry about that. Dimitri, do you have a question or do you have a comment?
Okay, like it like okay. So
No,
what?
you cannot. Why you cannot? Because look at this example. The next page. You have both odd and even. So how do you know which one? Um, what else? Yeah. When you have both of them, it's hard to see. But when you have all even, it's definitely even. For example, x to the 4th, x squared, they're even function because the power is even. Now about this one, I have to get a new page. We have x cubed minus y cubed equals 1. So you can do it two ways. One way is solve for y so that you can see your f of x and then compare with negative f of x. Or you can replace x with negative x, but then it will be harder for you to see. For example, if you replace x with negative x, you get negative x cubed minus y cubed equals 1, right? And what is negative x whole thing cube? Negative x cubed. Now, if you compare this with that, in order to be odd, you have to have negative f of x. Do you have negative f of x? No, because this negative f of x is negative of x cubed minus y cubed equals 1, which is negative x cubed, but positive y cubed and negative 1. So if you just replace x with negative x, it's harder to see because when you see negative x cubed, you already assume it's odd, but actually it's not odd. So this is one way of figuring out. The other way is solve for y. If you solve for y, we get y cube equals, you're subtracting, you're adding y cube, so x cube plus 1, and then you're taking the cube root of both sides. Cube root, cube root. So you get to y equals cube root of x cube plus 1. Now, negative of that function is negative y is negative cube root of x cube plus 1. This is negative f of x. But what do we have? Negative x cube plus 1. This is f of negative x. So we get cube root of negative x cube plus 1. And this is definitely not same as negative x cube plus 1. So in order to be odd, your f of x has to be negative, sorry, f of negative x has to be f of negative of f of x. So this is your, I should change my y to that f of negative x. In f of negative x, you replace x with negative x, and you get negative x cubed plus 1 inside the parentheses, inside the radical. And when you combine negative f of x, they are not same. So even though you have a cubic power, still it's not odd. Also, it's not even. So it's neither. Neither. It's neither odd nor even. It's just a function. It doesn't have any special quality. And I think this question is from your homework. So you're going to see that question again, a similar question. Okay. The next question says, which of these is symmetric about the origin? So they didn't ask you directly, tell them odd or even. They said, tell us, is this symmetric about the origin? Which type of function is symmetric about the origin? Odd. So indirectly, they are asking us which of these is odd function. So you omit one by one. Y equals x square. Is this odd or even? Even, because we know it's parabola. It's symmetric. So definitely it's not A. Uh, this one is actually easy one, right? Y equals x cubed. It is odd or even? It's odd. So we already have this answer. Really. How about x to the 4 plus 1? Odd or even? It looks like even because of the fourth power. So this is even. Y equals x minus 1. It's a line, right? So let's see. F of x is x minus 1. If you replace x with negative x, you get negative x minus 1. Now, if you want to see what is negative f of x, it's negative x minus 1, which is negative x plus 1. These two are not same. So this is not odd. The first one we know, the fourth one we know, the fifth one, even though it's a line, it looks like symmetric, but actually it's not symmetric. We know B is odd, but just in case, let's also check C. C. For C, we have f of x is x squared plus x cubed. We are looking at two things. What is negative f of x and what is f of negative x. We have to find both of them. Negative f of x means negative x squared plus x cubed, which is negative x squared minus x cubed. Right? We're just changing all the sign for all the term because we are subtracting them. Now, f of negative x means we are replacing all these x here with negative x. So x squared plus x cubed turns into negative x squared and negative x cubed. So what is negative x whole thing squared? Positive x squared. And what is negative x cubed? Negative x cubed. Now, if you compare this with the original one or with this one, does it match with either one of them? So this is neither. If it match with the original one, it's even. If it's matched with the negative one, then it's odd. But if it doesn't match with any one of them, it's neither. It's just a function. So the correct answer is B. So let me erase all of this. You try one. Do you see them? Probably not, right? Let me write them bigger. A has x minus 1 over x. B has x over x cubed plus 1. C has 2x to the 4 plus 1. D has x cubed plus 2x. And E has x cubed plus 2. Which of these is symmetric about the origin? Again, what does symmetric about the origin mean? Odd. So they are looking for odd functions. Which of these is odd? You can omit one of them without doing even anything. Which one you can omit? C. Because you already know this is even because of the fourth power. You are shifting fourth power only one unit up, but still it's symmetric about the y-axis. So this is even function, we know definitely. So you have three things, four, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 other things to check. Which one you guess is even? Sorry, my bad. Make a guess and then check. So make a guess. Which one you think should be odd? Which one looks odd? E? Okay, then let's check. So this is the original f of x, okay? This is the original one. We are looking at negative f of x and f of negative x. These two things we are looking at. What is negative f of x? It's negative of the original function, right? But then if you distribute the negative, what do you get? Negative x cubed minus 2. So this is negative f of x. And now we have to compare that with f of negative x. It means you keep your x cubed plus 2, just you change your x with negative x. This is what negative x inside the f means. You're replacing x in your function with negative x. William, no laptop. So what do you get from here? What is negative x whole thing cubed? Negative x cubed. And we have a plus 2. Are the same? So your choice is wrong. E is not add. D. So let's check D. D. Our f of x is x cubed plus 2x. So negative of f of x means you're putting a negative sign in the font. So what do we get? Negative x cubed minus 2x. This is negative of the function. And now we want to know f of negative x. So x cubed plus 2x, we replace that by negative x. Negative x cubed and then negative x. What do we get this time? Negative x cubed minus 2x. Now if you compare with this, with that, the other one, what do you see? Same. So since f of negative x is negative of the original function, so this is odd. So negative means you're changing the sign of every term. And when you're replacing x with negative x, it means you're simplifying. Once you simplify, you compare the negative x inside with the negative sign outside. If you get the same thing back, it's odd. If you don't get the same thing back, it's not odd. So you look for even, whether it's even or not. But here we get our answer. Our correct answer is D. And observe here, x cubed is an odd function and x is also an odd function. So x cubed and x, if you add two odd functions, the result is odd. On the other hand, for C, even though this is odd, but adding 1 doesn't make it odd. It makes nothing. So the sum of two odd function gives you an odd function, I think. Any question? So in the exam, I'm going to give you one of these. Figure out whether some function is odd or not, odd, even, or neither. Okay? So one question from here. Any questions so far? Is there anybody who is lost? Kind of lost, right? Johnny? Tell me which part you need more explanation.
Why is it?
Tell me what's the rule to be add. Opposite what? You have to state this way. A function is add if f of negative x equals negative f of x. That means the function, you have to find two things of that. One is what is f of negative x, and one is what is negative of f of x. And we did both of them. First, we found what is negative of f of x. It means you're subtracting the original function, or you're switching the sign of the original function. The original function is positive x cubed, positive 2x. The negative means it's negative x cubed, negative 2x. Clear? What is not clear? Come on, Johnny. I said, okay, if you're two, what is no, never mind. If f of x is 2, what is negative f of x? Good. If your f of x is negative 3, what is negative f of x? 3. So you're just changing the sign, right? You're just switching the sign. Now this is your f of x. Find what is negative f of x. So you're changing the sign for x cubed and changing the sign for 2x. So it's negative x cubed minus 2x. Clear? That's all you're doing here. Then you need to compare that with f of negative x. So tell me, if f of x is 2x, what is f of negative x? Negative 2x, right? Because you're changing your x with negative x. 2 times negative x, that gives you negative 2x. If I tell you f of x is x squared, what is f of negative x? Negative x whole thing squared, and that becomes what? No, positive x squared. So this is positive x squared. So f of negative x means you're replacing x with negative x inside the function and you're simplifying. So this is what we did here. Instead of x cubed, we wrote negative x whole thing cubed. Plus, instead of 2x, we wrote plus 2 times negative x. And then you simplify. When you simplify, negative x whole thing cubed becomes negative x cubed, and 2 times negative x becomes negative 2x. Now, whatever result is here, you compare that with the result here. If you have the exact same two things, that means they're odd. I mean, not they. This function is odd. For even, you look at this result with the original function. If the negative result is same as the original function, then it's even. So you have to memorize these two rules. Now, next, the transformation. We already did transformation before with the parabola. The rules for transformation is same. Now here, this transformation we are going to use not for a parabola, but for any random graph or any random function. So vertical transformation means we have the original function and then a number plus or minus. So the function plus a number means you're moving up. Function Minus a number means you're moving down. But if you have a number inside your function, remember inside, they don't listen to you because they're inside your heart. So they go to the opposite direction on the left side or the left-right side. So a number inside your function, when you add them, it's supposed to go on the right, but it doesn't. It goes on the left. The number inside the function, if you subtract means it should be left, but actually it goes to the right. And previously, we learned about negative in the front. When you have a negative in the front of the function, it's the reflection about x-axis. And now there is another reflection. If you have a negative inside the function, if your axis is negative inside the function, then it's a reflection about y-axis. Okay? Negative sign in front of the function means reflection about x-axis. So here, and if you have a negative inside your function in front of x, it's a reflection about the y-axis. Now let's do some example. How can you translate the graph of y equals f of x? It means how can you shift y equals f of x to obtain a graph of f of x plus 2 minus 4? Basically, it's asking which direction you have to move in f of x. Left 2, down 4. Perfect. That's all you have to do. You take your original graph, you go left 2 units, and then 4 units down. And this is what they're asking. Let me write neatly. Down 4. Any question? Can you see the writing? Is it clear? Okay. Then try the next one. I want to take that one before I forget. Let me make it bigger for you if it's not clear. You have f of x. Thank you. X minus 3 and then minus 10. So what type of shifting you would think about that? Um, today is 9:30. Dominica, yeah. Salahuddin, Arslan, Maxine, Zoe, Claire gave up. Jolene, Prince, Hayden. And if you're done, there is one more. Now this is graph this question. Ellen, yeah. Asir, restaurant. Skyly, Alice, Jasmina, absent. Alexandra, Jennifer. Oh, you're here. Jessie, Johnny here. Afis, Karin here. Pedro here. Erika here. Jawad here. Ruby. Sion here. Dimitri here. Siki. Amir. And William. Yeah. So 1, 2, 2 absents. 1, 12. Okay. Ready? Who would like to do the left page? Alexandra. It's C. You're going down 10 units and right 3 units. Perfect. It is C. How about the next page? Which type of transformation you have? Pedro. About? So reflection about x-axis. And what does plus 1 mean? Up 1. So do you know the shape of the cubic function? Do you remember? The left going down, right going up. And when you reflect about x-axis, it switch the side. This is negative x cube. And then you take the origin and you're shifting 1 unit here. The left is going down, the left is going up, the right is going down. It looks weird. So negative x cube plus 1. This is an odd function. So negative inside or outside, they give you the same results. So if you reflect about y-axis, you get the same thing back. If this is your mirror, that means this side should go here, and this side should go here, which is the same as what we have now. In our case, it's mirror about the x. So the up goes down, and the down goes up. Same exactly. The next one. What type of function is the next one? What's the original function? Hmm? The transformation is given here. I'm asking you what's the original one? Square root of x. Good. So x, y. What's the shape of the square root of x? Of course. To graph. We are learning all about function. How do you graph them? How do you transform them? How do you find x-intercept, y-intercept? How do you find the end behavior? How do you find whatever's in the middle without plotting points? Hmm? What do you mean lose for shape? So what's the shape of square root function? How the shape look like? No. Parabola is x squared. Why did you believe him? Hayden. It's half of the parabola but sideways. So this way. If you draw this is the entire parabola sideways, but we are looking at only the positive side. So this is square root of x without any transformation. Now you're taking this graph and how you're moving. X-axis. If you have a negative in front of your function, so your function is square root, right? And why do you see the negative sign in the front? So front means reflection about x-axis. So it's a reflection about x-axis. And this too, is it inside the function or outside the function? Inside. So inside means which direction? Left or right? Does it follow the direction? It should go right, but it doesn't. It goes to the left. Because it's inside your heart. It's inside. How about the -3? Is it inside your function or outside the function? Outside. So down. So you take your shape, you reflect about x-axis, means it goes here. Reflecting about x-axis gives you negative square root of x here. So this is your mirror. You reflect, and that reflection, you are moving 2 units left and 3 units down. So 1 unit left, 2 unit left, and from that position, 1 down, 2 down, 3 down here. This is your new origin, and then you draw your graph. This is negative x plus 2 inside the root and -3 outside the radical. And yes, you are going to draw a graph in your exam. So when you draw, make sure you draw the original one. And then walk your transformation, walk your shifting. How many units, which direction you're moving. Any questions?